The Christmas dare. The snow fell softly outside the floor-to-ceiling windows of Marcus Chen's corner office. He stood with his arms crossed, looking down at the city lights below, a faint smile of amusement on his face. His assistant had just left after dropping another stack of profiles on his desk. Blind date candidates, all carefully vetted, all from prominent families, all supposedly perfect matches for the 34-year-old CEO of Chen Technologies. Marcus walked back to his desk and flipped through the folders without interest. A lawyer, a doctor, an art gallery owner. Each profile read like a resume, complete with accomplishments and pedigrees. He closed the last folder and tossed it aside. Blind dates had become something of a joke to him, not because he didn't want companionship, but because every setup felt the same. Polite conversation over expensive wine, careful words that said nothing real. Two strangers performing the dance of courtship without any actual connection. His mother meant well. His well-meaning friends meant well. But Marcus had learned long ago that you couldn't schedule chemistry. You couldn't arrange genuine feeling between two people like you'd arrange a business meeting. He was about to leave for the night when his phone buzzed. A text from his college friend David. Annual Christmas party tomorrow night. Don't even think about skipping. Marcus typed back, I have work. You always have work. Come for 1 hour. There's someone I want you to meet. Marcus sighed. Another setup, no doubt. He considered declining, but David had been a true friend for over 15 years. 1 hour wouldn't kill him? Fine. 1 hour. The next evening, Marcus arrived at David's sprawling home in the suburbs. The house glowed with warm light, and he could hear laughter and music from inside. He straightened his coat and knocked. David opened the door with a wide grin. You actually came. I'm impressed. I said I would. Marcus stepped inside, shaking snow from his shoulders. The house was full of people Marcus half remembered from college. Conversations buzzed around him. Children ran past with cookies in their hands. A fire crackled in the stone fireplace. David handed him a glass of wine. So I heard your mom's still trying to set you up. Marcus gave him a look. Is that why I'm here? Because if you have another blind date candidate, relax. David laughed. No setup. I promise. But speaking of blind dates, he nodded toward a group of people near the Christmas tree. See that woman in the gray sweater? Marcus followed his gaze. A woman with dark hair pulled back in a simple ponytail stood talking with animated hands to a small group. She wore jeans and a soft gray sweater, nothing fancy, but there was something warm and genuine in her expression. That's Emma Rodriguez, David said. She's a teacher at my daughter Lily's school. 3rd grade. And she has the same opinion of blind dates as you do. Is that so? Yeah. Her friends have been trying to set her up for months, and she thinks the whole thing is ridiculous. Says you can't force connection between people. Marcus felt a flicker of interest. Smart woman. David's eyes gleamed with mischief. In fact, she and her teacher friends have this running joke. They dare each other to do small, brave things. Nothing crazy, just things that push them out of their comfort zones a little. Where are you going with this, David? Well, David leaned in conspiratorially. Lily may have overheard her friends daring Emma to show up at some random address tonight and wish the person there a Merry Christmas. As a joke, to prove she's not afraid of awkward social situations, Marcus raised an eyebrow. And Lily may have given Emma your address. Marcus stared at his friend. You're joking. I am not, David grinned. Emma has no idea whose house she's going to. She just knows she's supposed to knock on the door and spread some Christmas cheer to a stranger. She's probably heading there right now. David, 1 hour, remember? Your hour's almost up anyway. Why don't you head home and see what happens? David's expression softened. Look, I know you think setups don't work, and you're probably right. But this isn't really a setup, is it? It's just a Christmas coincidence. Marcus shook his head, but he was already reaching for his coat. You're completely ridiculous. That's why you like me. Drive safe. The roads are getting icy. Marcus drove home through the thickening snow, his mind turning over David's words. This whole thing was absurd. A grown woman had been dared to knock on a stranger's door. It sounded like something from a romantic comedy, not real life. He almost hoped she wouldn't show up. It would spare them both the awkwardness. But when he pulled into his driveway, he found himself looking down the street, wondering if she was already on her way. Inside, Marcus started a fire in the stone fireplace and put on water for tea. His house felt too quiet, the way it always did. Too large for one person. Too empty. He was about to change out of his dress shirt when he heard it. A soft knock at the door. Marcus paused, his heart beating a little faster than it should. He walked to the door and opened it. A woman stood on his porch, snowflakes catching in her dark hair. She wore a red dress under a cream coat, and her cheeks were flushed from the cold. Behind her he could see a young girl, David's daughter Lily, if he wasn't mistaken, watching from the driveway with barely contained giggles. The woman looked up at him, her brown eyes wide with surprise and embarrassment. She laughed nervously. "This is going to sound completely insane. You're here because of a dare," Marcus said quietly. Her mouth opened. "How did you—" "My friend David has a terrible sense of humor." Marcus stepped back from the door. "You must be freezing. Please come in." Emma hesitated, glancing back at Lily, who gave her an enthusiastic thumbs up before running back to David's car parked at the curb. "I should go," Emma said. "This is so embarrassing. I'm sorry for bothering you. You're not bothering me." Marcus surprised himself with how much he meant it. "Really? It's Christmas Eve. No one should be standing in the snow. Come in. I just made tea." Emma looked at him for a long moment, as if trying to decide whether this was real or some elaborate prank. Then slowly she smiled. It was a genuine smile, warm and a little shy. "Okay," she said softly. "Just for a few minutes." She stepped inside, and Marcus closed the door behind her. The house suddenly felt less empty. "I'm Marcus, by the way." "Emma." She unwound her scarf, looking around at the warm interior, the fire crackling in the fireplace, the soft lighting. "You have a beautiful home." "Thank you." He took her coat and hung it up. "Can I get you that tea?" "Please." They sat by the fire, teacups warming their hands, and began to talk. Not the careful, resume-like conversation Marcus had come to expect from dates. Real conversation. She told him about her third graders, about the funny things they said, about why she loved teaching. He told her about growing up with impossible expectations, about building something of his own, about the loneliness that came with success. The minutes stretched into an hour, then two. The snow continued to fall outside, blanketing the world in quiet white. At some point, Marcus realized he was smiling. Really smiling, not the polite mask he usually wore. And Emma was leaning forward in her chair, her eyes bright with interest, asking him questions no one had ever thought to ask before. "You know," she said softly, "my friends have been trying to set me up for months. They mean well, but I always thought blind dates were kind of pointless. You can't force a connection between people." "I've thought the same thing," Marcus admitted, "but this—" Emma looked around the room, then back at him. "This doesn't feel forced, does it?" "No," he said, "it doesn't." Outside the snow continued to fall, soft and steady and certain. And inside, by the warmth of the fire, two people who had given up on setups found something neither had been looking for. Something real. Something that couldn't be planned or arranged or put in a folder on a desk. Emma stayed for another hour, then another. And when she finally rose to leave, Marcus walked her to the door and asked if he could see her again. Not because of a dare or a setup or a friend's meddling, but because for the first time in years, he wanted to, and from the way Emma smiled up at him in the doorway, snow falling gently behind her, he could tell she wanted to as well. "Merry Christmas." "Marcus," she said softly. "Merry Christmas, Emma." And as she walked to her car, Marcus stood in the doorway and watched her go, already counting the hours until he could see her again. Sometimes, he thought, the best things in life were the ones you never planned for. The ones that arrived unannounced on a snowy Christmas Eve, wearing a red dress and a nervous smile. The ones that started with a joke and turned into something true.